doing 115, 118 down the straightaway. This is Pittsburgh International. That was a good one. There, I hit him. That's racing. Stuff happens. My name is Mike MacQueen. By day, I'm senior historian in the Human Rights Law section of the Office of the Principal Legal Advisor, investigating persons who committed war crimes and crimes against humanity. And on evenings and weekends, I'm a race car mechanic and race car driver. I dropped out of college after my freshman year and went to work as a mechanic. And I built one of these cars, an MG Midget, and raced that in my early 20s, and then I started again at about age 60. For me, it's a great distraction from some of the work we do at ICE. The war in Bosnia was a war of all against all, literally. In the former Yugoslavia in the period 1991-1999, persons who committed war crimes and crimes against humanity, after having murdered their neighbors and burnt their houses down, said, "Oh, I'm a refugee," falsified their applications for immigration benefits and entered the United States. Slobodan Mutic committed 2 ethnic murders of a beloved pair of dentists in his hometown. Not too long after that, he murders his girlfriend, comes to the US. Found the guy in Cleveland. In 3 separate trips to Croatia, I accumulated from various repositories all the documentation needed to build the case. Brought in the agent in Cleveland. We got an arrest warrant, we got a search warrant. We found incriminating documentation in his home. He admitted elements of the double murder. However, given that we can't prosecute for murder, we're left with immigration fraud. Slobodan got 2 years federal time and then a directed removal to Croatia, where he can stand trial for the murders he did. In northwest Bosnia, you had this little pirate statelet called the Autonomous Region of Western Bosnia. Sulejman Mujagic was commander of a platoon which captured a group of government soldiers. He murdered one of the government soldiers in front of the eyes of the others, and then mercilessly tortured another soldier. We traced him to Utica, New York. He owned a store which dealt in Bosnian food products. And we got witnesses in Bosnia, put together a beautiful case, and he was extradited to Bosnia and got 8.5 years. In some cases, we already have a big corpus of evidence, or if we only have an indication that a person was a bad guy, that's when I tell our HSI component, I need money because I got to go to Bosnia, and build a case that way. In the Croatian State Archive, in a box of materials, I found a list of dangerous prisoners to be transferred to the maximum security prison. It was like 60-something names, so I ran all the names through CIS, and I found another 4 subjects in the US. In my 20s, I finished my undergrad degree in economics, and I fell under the influence of an evil professor at Michigan, who was a Polish-Ukrainian. Said one day, Michael, I know of some extremely interesting documents. You need to study these. And it was stuff about the Polish underground army during World War II. And I spent 20 years doing Holocaust criminals for the Office of Special Investigations of the US Department of Justice. And then here at ICE, what we're dedicated to is making sure that the United States is not a safe haven for people who committed these horrible acts. It's very satisfying. We've got some great agents in the field. The more cases we open, the work seems to be without termination. Racing, for me, it's the off switch from what I do at ICE. My garage is my second home, and I spend virtually all my free time out here. I like these cars, I know them, can take them apart, put them back together in my sleep. You've got to be absolutely patient. There's no shortcuts. Same thing with ICE, preparing for immigration court or for federal prosecution. There's no cutting corners. Great patience, diligence, and persistence are required. That was a good one.